Assalamualaikum and hi I read to my fellow friends and to Dr. Salah. So today my group will present on Group Assignment Chapter 7, which is Academic Consequences of Content Standards. So these are my group members, Radin Azrida, Rosma, Nurul Farahana, and also me myself, Wan Nur Ardani Shahira.
The first question needs us to explain the stakeholder theory and the bullwhip effect that applied in this study. Stakeholder is any person or any party that have interest in a particular organization. They will affect or will be affected by the action and the outcome of the organization. The stakeholder theory stresses the interconnected relationship between the company and its stakeholder. This theory states that the company should incorporate the interests and the needs of all stakeholders. Company should never lose sight of everyone that is involved in their business to avoid any failure. Meaning that the company should not only focus on the person who invests in their company, but also of those who work in their company, those who loan money in their company, those who supply their business needs, and many more. In terms of supplier, the company should treat and compensate them fairly. But the stakeholder theory also emphasizes that the supplier should also operate their own business ethically, fairly, and equitably. Thus, in order to attain a long-term success, the company should not only need to treat their supplier well, but also do the due diligence on how the supplier does their business. With regards to the case study, Apple's reputation affected by the disruption that happened on the other end of the long supply chain. It was found that its supplier company, Foxconn, made its employees work for long hours without break, made its employees use dangerous chemicals in producing their product that caused severe health problems, and the working condition in their factory was very dangerous. Due to that, Apple has been condemned and boycotted by many parties. Although the disruption happened mainly to its supplier, Foxconn, the public hold the Apple responsible because they own the brand of the iPad, not the Foxconn. Disruption of its supplier has made the Apple suffer enormously in terms of reputation and the economic losses.
Now we will proceed with bullwhip effect. Bullwhip effect is a small change at one end of the supply chain that can cause a serious impact on the other end of supply chain. It is a serious effect that leads to inefficiency in supply chain that is due to unethical decision making. Bullwhip effect happens due to lack of communication between parties in supply chain and also using insufficient information in order to make assumption on how much the customer actually buy the products. It occurs when the changes in customer demand cause the company to order more from the distributor. In 2011, the explosion of the main supplier of Apple, which is Foxconn, has resulted in decreasing demand from the customer. The crisis that happened explained how bullwhip effect could form and evolve unexpectedly. Bullwhip effect occurred due to unethical operational conduct of supplier at the stage of supply chain process that bring a significant negative impact on consumers' purchasing decision. Explosion that happens is due to not properly manage the safety of the factory and the members in it. So since the customers tend to boycott and condemn Apple's wrongdoing in China, the company is not able to sell any product to the customer. Apple has treated the negative news exposure by switching to a new supplier, which is Pegatron. However, there are possibilities for bullwhip effect to happen where there will be differences in component production by the new suppliers and real-world demand after the tragedy.
Which is explain the impact of SCR towards the economy for the case above. First, I'm going to explain the definition of the corporate social responsibility. SCR is a self-regulation business model that helps the company to be more socially accountable. The concept of SCR is most important approach in the current business environment due to the relationship between the businesses and the stakeholders becoming strong and integrated. Therefore, the implementation of SCR in the business strategy has become a key feature for some leading worldwide companies in order to improve their business performance. Like many other companies, Apple, as one of the well-known multinational corporations that operates in the global supply chain, has also made significant progress in terms of SCR. Hence, by implementing SCR, it will give some impacts towards the economy. First, we will take a look on how SCR towards employee impact on economy. First, in designing a healthy environment of working, Apple has implemented a proactive SCR strategy with safety and health management for its own employees and its suppliers' employers. In order to address the issue of bad working conditions within the factories of its suppliers, Apple established a supplier code of conduct. It has worked closely with its suppliers to ensure that the code of conduct is being upheld. Part of its policy is to terminate any business agreement with suppliers that refuse or fail to obey this code of conduct. Besides that, due to the criticism of Apple's action on the worst working condition of China, Apple has implemented a training program for its managers and its workers. The implementation of these programs are to improve the environmental safety system and explore the management practices such as workers' protection and workers' rights. Besides that, in 2011, Apple implemented SCR education in schools of the local community and continual SCR employee training. The purpose of this implementation is to reduce the workers' training costs and to create proper mechanism into its business operation. In order to achieve a sustainable SCR impact, Apple focused on the product design decision by providing the environmental sustainable materials and safety environment for its workers in the operational process. This is to ensure that they provide the favorable product image in the long run, and as a result, they will enjoy the high sale price. As these SCR mechanisms are implemented, all the stakeholders in the supply chain will have a positive value creation cycle which not only provide the healthy environment but improve the business performance in the competitive market.
Apart from CSR towards the employee, there were also significant efforts in CSR towards customer and environment that will eventually give impact towards the economic growth. A good reputation of a company that goes along with CSR will help the company to build customer loyalty and to maximize the profit as well. In devising CSR strategy, Apple focused the effort in satisfying the interests of the person or the organization that buy their products. The main interest of the customer is to have effective and efficient product that come with a reasonable price. Although Apple offered their product at a relatively high price, their premium pricing strategy is acceptable by the customer since it matches the high quality and the aesthetic of the said product. Apple has also adopted strong measures to make its products safer for the customer who use them. Apple continuously evaluates the material used in its product to identify and eliminate harmful substances in order to ensure the safety of the customer. Thus, in terms of profitability, when Apple's CSR effort satisfy the interests of its customer, it will help in increasing the number of sales, consequently improve the revenue generation.
Now we will proceed with CSR towards environment. By having a good environment, it will provide resources to the economy such as minerals and fossil fuels that will directly help in producing goods and services. Apple has designed its product with the aim of being energy efficient. Starting in 2018, Apple has been using recycled materials for its operation. It started to use recycled plastic, recycled tin, aluminium and also cobalt for Apple's product and its part. Apple has launched MacBook Air and Mac Mini that is made with 100% recycled aluminium, with Mac Mini that is made with 60% of recycled plastic. Apple has been using 100% renewable energy for its operation, where the product produced and sold to the customer has been using less energy compared to prior generation. For example, MacBook Pro has been using 61% less energy than before. The CSR implemented by Apple helps the company to build confidence, responsibility and care towards society and nature. The way that the company made use of recycled materials and renewable energy is the best way to reduce pollution.
Good day, Doctor. I am Radina Azrida. Now, I will present to you the next question. Based on one of the case above, CSR focused on one key area of triple bottom line. Name and explain that key area. Find and apply another two theories that could be applied for any related issue on this key area. Triple bottom line theory proposed that a company should not only focus on cost effectiveness to maximize profit, but to pursue the sustainability of organization. To be able to sustain, this theory recommends three bottom line key areas, which are profit, people, and the planet. Profit is to measure company performance proved by profitability. People and organization has been throughout its operation, and the planet key area concerns on company responsibility towards the conservation of the environment. Based on the case study above, we found that CSR focused on people's key areas. People force employees and companies in the supply chain. Social responsibility mainly focuses on social issues as human rights. Therefore, in this context is towards the employee at Apple Incorporation suppliers factories, Foxconn in China. Well-being and safety. Foxconn should pay attention to their employees' welfare. It is never just about wages or working hours to enhance productivity, but the working condition too. Foxconn is able to bear negative financial consequences by ignoring or not complying with social and environmental responsibilities, and this has been proven when the company profitability drops in the midst to cover the cost of improving factory conditions after several series of incidents with social and environmental responsibilities, and this has been proven when the company profitability drops in the midst to cover the cost of improving factory conditions after several series of incidents happen. In relation to the matter, by being socially responsible to people, the organization is also practicing a cost-effective operation. Next, in the supply chain, it is the responsibility of Apple as the brand owner to make sure all the suppliers comply and practice these activities. In this sense, Apple should consider whether all companies in the supply chain, in this case especially the suppliers, take responsibility to comply with ethical practices in labor, human rights and working conditions, occupational health and safety, thus helping to maintain a good reputation with society as the brand owner and as the company in the supply chain. Perhaps Apple may equip all the companies in the supply chain with standard strategy CSR to practice. To elaborate, there are two theories applied on issues related to society are discussed as follows. These theories are Carroll's Pyramid of Corporate Social Responsibilities and Stakeholder Theory. For Carroll's Pyramid of Corporate Social Responsibilities, the pyramid is a framework that explains how and why organizations should take on social responsibility. According to R.T. Carroll, there are four components of responsibility that a company should carry out, such as economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic responsibility. The foundation of the pyramid emphasizes a company to be profitable. In the economic level of the pyramid, the company is required to exercise their main function of business, as it is the only way for the company to survive and contribute the monetary returns to its stakeholders. Next, for legal responsibility, the theory suggests that a company should obey the laws in its operation activities. By abiding the law, it means that the company supports the right related parties. Issues relating to employment, health and safety of the employee are included in areas of concern for the company's legal responsibility. For example, the issue of Apple and Foxconn for their violation of Chinese labor law. Recently, as reported by a non-profit advocacy group, Chinese Labor Watch, Apple and its manufacturing partner Foxconn had breaking the Chinese labor law by hiring outnumbered of temporary employees than permitted. They were also accused bonus payment of the employees and also rolling back the safety training for its factory workers. On top of that, the negligence of both partnering companies in obeying laws had caused tragedy that took the lives of employees. One of the remarking tragedy is the issue of their employees committed suicide due to depressing workloads and unpromising wages. This issue is best explained together with the next component of the pyramid, which is ethical responsibility. In ethical responsibility, Carroll emphasizes the company to act ethically and morally in conducting their business activities. To be ethical, companies are expected to go beyond the law and regulations. Around the year 2010 and 2011, the tablet was hot with a wave of suicide by factory workers of Foxconn, Apple's manufacturing partner in China. The incident is believed to be caused by labor abuses, poor working conditions, and harsh penalties for workers who make mistakes. Foxconn's factory, which is called Apple City in Zhengzhou, hired 350,000 employees to produce 500,000 phones a day, up to 350 minutes per phone. On top of that, Foxconn also employs its employees starting at the age of 16 due to the requirement of working experience. The condition to work at Foxconn is worsening as the city is far 20 miles from the downtown of Zhengzhou and separated by highways, suburbs, and dirty land areas. The failure of Foxconn to provide a decent workplace for its workers are criticized to be unethical by many parties around the world. Due to the incident, the consumer of Apple products has shown solidarity to boycott the product as it is proven that components of the pyramid, the ethical and legal responsibility, affect the economic outcomes of the company if neglected. Next is the stakeholder theory. The theory proposed that companies have the responsibility to not only seek profits but to also of multiple stakeholders. These stakeholders represent individuals or groups that have an interest in the actions and behavior of the business. The idea of stakeholder theory companies need to maintain a positive relationship with society and their environment if they are to operate effectively. Failure to do so can harm a company reputation and ultimately affect their ability to operate. However, stakeholders do not have the same influence on their organization, so there are two classes of stakeholders: primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. Primary stakeholders represent those individuals or groups who have a greater influence on the organization. For example, customers, employees, investors, suppliers, government agencies, and the local community. These groups are of utmost importance because the companies relies on them for a long-term survival. Recently, Swedish fast fashion giant H&M reported to bear billions of unsold clothes as profit plummeted, affected by the allegation of human rights scandal. The scandal is H&M use of child sex in Cambodia. Swedish journalists revealed their investigation that workers at the company's factory in Burma are as young as the age of 14 and are working for more than 12 hours a day with the pay rate at 15 cents per hour, which is clearly less than half the minimum wage stated by Burmese law. This issue proved how much of why H&M should its operational decision to hire child labor and rights of employees to receive pay that they earn by producing clothes. The consequences of neglecting primary stakeholders' needs in this context are that employees have caused massive loss as consumers choose not to buy from socially irresponsible sellers. For secondary stakeholders, although they are not as critical as primary stakeholders, they still are able to influence public perception of the business. The media and the special interest groups are the common secondary stakeholders. They can give impact to the business on public perception only from what they communicate or choose to communicate. Issues related to this can be well elaborated, and gas company British Petroleum has gone through efforts to repair its better image in the wake of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Although the criticism was certainly warranted, special interest groups and media played a significant role in transmitting information related to British Petroleum's decisions that led to the explosion and subsequent oil spill. Besides, in the year 2017, there is a boycott launched by the social media users in Muslim countries against McDonald's, the fast food chain company, in the effect of announcement made by President regarding Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Boycott started when the accusations that McDonald's channels fund through social media. Under the stakeholder theory, companies' top priority should be satisfying the various interests of these groups. And with that, I end my presentation to say thank you for this semester and wish the best for us for final exam after. Thank you.